So I guess, hello. This is where I say, hola, hola, ¿qué pasa? My name is Whitney Melissa Goyaso, and I am here as La Hechicera of Horror, here in my conjuring corner with Scrapped and Gore. I'm not really sure if the chat is still on, but if anyone is still on the chat, I'm going to rotate the screen, and if it looks funky, someone type in the chat, let me know if it looks fine or if it's out of place. I'm just trying to fix this. I guess it's not working that way. Oh well. I guess I'm gonna leave it where it's at right now. So here on this live, I will be talking vampiric makeup looks, lore, and a Nosferatu review. As you can see, I already pre-did some of my makeup, and I even have fangs as well. So I'll talk about how I got these fangs in. When I start talking about makeup and my views on the makeup of the Nosferatu film. But first off, I'm going to start with this remake of this film of Nosferatu. It was written and directed by Robert Eggers. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Did I disable the chat? If someone can type in the chat, type something in the chat and let me know. I want to try to leave this somewhat interactive. In case people did want to interact, say hello, feel free. Drop a line. But yes, this live, yes, I'm talking about Nosferatu and my view of it, of the film, as well as, okay, awesome, hello, Phil. I am glad to see that you are here. I tried to rotate my screen. I don't know if I can or not, but I'm just going to continue this way anyway. Hi, Janie. Has anyone really been far? Has anyone really been far, even as decided to use even go? I'm sorry, Hugh Mad Bro. I don't understand what you're trying to say. But no, I'm just here to talk about this film, and it's directed by Robert Eggers, who's known for, or Eggers, sorry if I'm saying the guy's name wrong. I probably should have looked into that before I started this live. But I saw a film by him several years ago called The Witch. He's known for doing period pieces, and he's done several other films. People have talked very promisingly and well about his film, The Lighthouse. I haven't seen anything else of this writer and director. But when it comes to this remake of Nosferatu, I will be dropping a few spoilers. I'm not going to make a big thing about this review, just a little bit, just enough to kind of give you a taste of it, no pun intended. So I'll be doing a little bit of a makeup demo once I start talking about how I feel about the makeup from the film, and then vampires and folklore and the derivation of the film itself. So this film stars Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård, and Willem Dafoe, and several other talented cast members. So Lily Rose Depp, she plays a marvelous role of Ellen Hutter, and her husband is Thomas Hutter, and Bill Skarsgård plays Count Orlok. So oh my god, okay. I don't, anyway, there's some language I can't. I'm removing, excuse me guys, I've got to eventually I'm going to have to like get like a moderator or something for some of these lives. But anyway, Ellen, I will say her performance, character by Lily Rose Depp, she was feeble, feral, like when she needed to be, and self-sacrificial. And when she was talking to her husband, who was Hutter, Thomas Hutter, who was played by Nicholas Hoult, she eventually came out to tell him about some trauma that she had gone through with a previous, like an entity that she has dealt with, or she wouldn't disclose too much about the entity himself. She would go on to say that he was like part of her dreams, and it was like a dark secret. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, I'll try not to. Yeah. But no, Ellen, the character, as I say, I felt like she was feeble and she became feral. Like she went into these, like, how would you say, like possession-like states, because of this trauma bond that she had, that was supernatural, of a trauma bond that she had with this entity, which ends up being Count Orlok. But she tells her husband about that, who he ends up going to Count Orlok's home in like the Carpathians, and the regions, to settle some estate, some business there with Count Orlok. But Ellen doesn't really want him to go, but he still goes anyway. And when he's there, he comes by some people, Romani people. And these Romani people, they end up forewarning him about the castle that he's going to, saying, don't go to that castle. And they're basically saying it's foreboding, but that's my take on it. And they have such a strong feeling and superstitious belief that when he is there, Hutter, he ends up seeing some of these Romani rituals that are being done. Like, there's one scene that was pretty dramatic where they have a young woman on a horse, and they have her going and approaching a body to see if it's going to change and become a Nosferatu or undead. So, and when that young woman on this white horse approaches that body, the horse reacts, and then they drive a wooden stake through. I think it was a stake. And then, of course, they ended up unaliving that being of that body. That was my first impression of how some of the makeup was. It was pretty intense. By the way, this film is not at all family friendly because of the content of the blood and how Count Orlok, his presentation is. I talk with my hands here. But I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Count Orlok as a makeup. See, Bill Skarsgård, he's sort of like a character actor, and he has played Pennywise in It, the remake of that. He's played other characters. The latest was The Crow, and I do have my own reservations about that film, and I haven't seen it because yeah, I don't have any. I'm not gonna delve into that one. But anyway, yeah, Bill Skarsgård in this film, you don't recognize him at all. He's very like big and shoulder muscular like in some ways, but he's also sickly. He appears a little frail. You'll see more of that like later in the film, because how it ends to his demise. But he ends up as someone who looks a bit rough, like he has had some sort of lesions. Some stuff makes him look kind of sickly. And people did comment about him having a mustache. That's like the one thing that I knew before I went into seeing this film. People did comment about his mustache. Some people were saying they did or they didn't like it. And then some people had said that they posted memes about who in entertainment he looked like he was compared to Sonic. This one character in Sonic the Hedgehog, I think it was Jim Carrey's character. So I'm sure some of you guys have probably seen some of those memes. But whether if, I don't know if you're into some of those pop cultural references, but he, yeah, in my opinion, I think Bill Skarsgård looks pretty cool. And I felt like the mustache was sort of a nod to a historic individual, which was Vlad Tepes Dracul. Yeah. Tepes is like a word, a Romanian word for impaler. But for a little bit there, I wasn't really sure what language Skarsgård was speaking in. So I decided I'm going to just do a little bit of bloody makeup. I have an effects palette, and I haven't used this in a little while now. It's been a little bit. I would use this when I would do makeup effects, and it's an alcohol-based makeup. So I feel like this is pretty appropriate to kind of demo out some of this makeup look. But yeah, talking about the look of Bill Skarsgård, I thought he was pretty, like I said, sickly, monstrous, strong even, because comparing that look to Max Schreck did not look that, how would I say, he looked a little bit more frail. Max Schreck looked a little bit more frail than what Skarsgård's character ended up looking like, in my opinion. So I look like I'm kind of little. I can use this on my teeth, by the way. You just have to dry them, and these fangs, dry them out a little bit, and then I'll put some. So while I dry this, does anyone have their own opinion on the look of Count Orlok? What did they think of his mustache? Because like I said, I felt like it was sort of a nod to the historical figure of Vlad the Impaler. And there you have it. So, I have some blood on my teeth. So, anyway, yes. I was trying to say I wasn't sure what kind of language it was that was being spoken, but then I found out that the language that was spoken by Bill Skarsgård as Orlok, it was like a ancient, like archaic Dacian, which is a native language of Romanian or some sorts. And I find that pretty fascinating because when you think about the title Nosferatu, the title of the film is also an old archaic Romanian title of a name. Nosferatu does have like a vampire or like a entity, like dark entity or some kind of translation to that, or it may have, or I don't know, it just depends. But then knowing now, Romanians believe in this entity that they feel is vampiric, is called a strigoi. Not all of them Romanians do, but it's a folkloric entity that this film was inspired by a different story that did take from the Romanian lore a little bit. See, there was a controversy of Nosferatu in general because the 1922. That was 1922 version. It's hang on a second. I'm getting my dates wrong. I will go ahead and say that this film did have a controversy because it was illegal, and it did have an infringement, copyright infringement, in Bram Stoker's Dracula of that book. And his widow did take legal action. She wanted the Nosferatu films destroyed or banned. And actually, Nosferatu was banned I think it was banned in Sweden for other reasons, though, not necessarily because of the legalities. I think there's a different time period on what happened there. But it was banned because of how horrific it was. The because of the horror elements. But no, Bram Stoker's wife was not a fan of this film because she felt it was a copyright issue. But Nosferatu did stylize its story, like molding it around Bram Stoker's story of Dracula. The only things that seemed to have changed were the character names. Dracula to Orlok to the spouse is Ellen, the woman who falls prey, along with Harker, Jonathan Harker. But Harker, his character is Thomas Hutter. So I'm just modeling some of this blood now. It's like I had a little bit of a snack here, I guess. But when it comes to blood, he did the character as far as this historical character. He did influence Bram Stoker some, but the thing is, some people don't know is that Bram Stoker was also heavily influenced by his own roots, his own Irish roots. You see, there were tales of vampirism, but they're told in such a way that's a little bit different, as Irish lore definitely is heavy on talking about fae folk, fairy folk, and that is, people think fairies, they think, oh, they have wings and they're beautiful and they're just mischievous creatures, when actually the Shea and fae folk, they're so vast in Irish lore. Like, some of them are very rooted in causing chaos. Some can be tyrants, and the one person or entity rather that Stoker was inspired by for his Dracula, besides Vlad, besides the Romanian historic figures, there is an Irish historical slash like supernatural figure, fae figure. There were stories of this guy called, he was like a Celtic chieftain, and his name, he was a tyrant. I think it was Abartak. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Abartak. And it's said that he had terrorized peasants, and that he did not, no matter who tried to fight him, that he was always undefeated. That people had thought, because he was undefeated, that he was a supernatural being, maybe a fae or undead. Sort of like there's a vampiric connection to that Avartok, the tyrant. But there was a time in the story of Avartok that he was slain. Finally, he was slain, but he was slain by a sword that was made of yew. Like, it was a wooden sword made of yew wood. And then it had done the same as what was said in fiction and vampiric lore is to be the latter inspiration, was the sword had penetrated through his chest. And so I found that kind of cool because it's a wooden one made of yew, and made me think about, okay, there's a connection there to the wooden stake thing that is used in vampires, on vampires. But no, that's just sort of a short bit of information that I can share about the folklore, the derivation, yeah, of that Bram Stoker's Dracula has that connection, and if it wasn't for that, then Nosferatu wouldn't have become the success of a film or story as it has been. Probably not. But talking about a little bit about the original Nosferatu, I really will say, to compare the original to the new one, do I think that the original is better than Robert Eggers? Sorry, again. Than this one, than this current one? Oh, absolutely. I still have a love for the original. Nothing can top the original. Is this one, this new film, is it beautiful and cinematic? Yes. The German expressionism for what is in the original, nothing can hold a candle to what is presented in that form. Like the production design, the shadow play was so heavy in that first one. It's like, I think because that's a film that I had seen when I was much younger, when I was a kid. I don't think anything will make me feel the way I felt when I was a kid when I watched that original. I did feel frightened. This one, I wasn't really frightened so much by the vampire himself, Count Orlok. I was more like taken aback by what was presented by Skarsgård Orlok. Another spoiler. There were two characters, two girls, that did fall prey to him. And when you think something was about to happen to Ellen Hutter and Thomas Hutter, you hear these screams, these cries, and then you see that in this scene it's Orlok with these two girls, and he drops them like rag dolls after he's fed off of them. And my jaw literally dropped. I'm like, I can't believe they did that. But I think it's just because of I was more into the idea of his connection with Ellen. I didn't really see him going after these other people, these girls. Although in the story, in this film, when I say he looked rough, he looked kind of sickly. He had like these sores on his shoulders, and he had the mustache, and he did have that broad look, but sickly. They did talk a little bit of that there was a plague going on. And Willem Dafoe's character was like a occult specialist, or cult specialist doctor or something, who was trying to aid Thomas Hutter and Ellen Hutter, or rather get to the bottom of what this Nosferatu was, because he had a feeling that this plague wasn't just some real sickness. He thought there was something demonic, something strange, supernatural, and surprise, surprise, to his occult knowledge, that is what it was. Now, I did find it pretty interesting that they did touch on the subject of Orlok being a disease, a vampire-like disease, because he does represent some things that we as humans are afraid of, not necessarily like vampires, but we do have things that have happened in this world and still happening with the whole thing of COVID and the pandemic. And then all of these other tragedies and social issues of where they're in vulnerable positions, like what's really the monster in our realities. It's not a vampire, it's just where are we in our lives. And I think why we take to characters like Nosferatu and vampires is because it's an escape to enjoy these creatures, but also it's sort of a reflection, like immortality versus our reality. Hi, Daniela. Good night. I was just saying that, yes, so I'm going to touch a little bit on that as far as there's so much going on. Like, when I did mention in the movie, some things did take me, I wouldn't say too by surprise, but there were just certain characters I wasn't sure that were going to be touched, like those girls. And then it kind of makes me think again about you don't know what's touched or untouched in your own reality. People, places, things. What sort of monster can destroy things? Like the LA fires just destroyed a bunch of people's homes, and animals are not safe. There's a lot of people that are homeless. And then there are people that are even devastated still from the Hurricane Helene in the regions of North Carolina, Asheville, and parts of Tennessee. And these people are still recovering, and it's winter. And the interesting thing about Nosferatu is that it takes place in winter. Winter is a hard time to get through tragedies, but getting through any tragedy during any season really is. But no, there's a lot going on in this world. But when it comes to holding on to the things that we love, the people that we love, enjoying the things that we love while we have the privilege to, like me sitting here with you, whoever's watching, I'm grateful that I have this opportunity to even talk about this film that I enjoyed, and to talk a little bit about the folklore and some of that background, where it came from. So I know I get a little deep sometimes, but it's just how I can be. And that's kind of why I started this channel, is to tell a little bit of folklore, some storytelling, and this is my first horror review, and I've done it live. This is the first time I've done a live horror film review. And anyone who has watched me and has followed my channel, usually I will tell a story or talk about something and then talk about what is important in the world today. And that's usually how I wrap up a lot of my YouTube videos, is finding the core of what's meaningful to me, or what could be meaningful in the end, despite or in reflection of that folklore or story or horror. So I guess while I am on these topics of things that are, I mentioned the fires in LA. I mean, you know, all I can say is check websites, valid websites. If you want to make a donation, go for it. I did, in case someone is interested, I did write down, there is redcross.org. If that's not your thing, that's fine. But that's, I don't know if that's up, but I did have redcross.org. There's some information there. I'm sorry if that's a little bit of chicken scratch, but you can also text CA wildfires at that following number, those numbers there, to help people in need. Also, here in North Carolina, yes, like I said, people like in here in California, like that's here. For some of those things to donate to or check into. Again, and here's one for North Carolina for Hurricane Helene donations. Is www.ncdps.org for those donations, for anyone that's interested in contributing to that. I'll hold it up one more time. Unless you want to come back and watch this again and pause it. Again, only if you're interested in doing something like that. It's there. Also, yeah, but to go back to things that might be fun or a little bit more interesting, I will have another live coming up. And subscribe to my channel, to this channel. It will be, I think it's the 18th, Sunday. No, it's not Sunday, it's a Saturday. I think that's Saturday, I think it's the 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will have another live where I will be talking about, yes, thank you, the 18th. Yes, Saturday the 18th at 8 p.m. I will have another live where I will be talking about a ghost story, or rather grave hunting, a little bit of both maybe. It's going to be a live with my fiance and I, Joey. We took a trek, we journeyed through New Jersey, and we got to visit the legendary punk rock grave, and it was the Ramones singer, Joey Ramone. It was his grave, and it was quite an experience. So that live will be titled, and it's available if you want to check it out on here. It's titled Punk's Not Dead Story Time, Grave and Ghost Hunting for Joey Ramone. If you want to hear about my experience, and mostly Joey's experience of going to Joey Ramone's grave. And we will be talking, can't wait for Janie in, can't wait for the live on the 18th. So cool you got to visit Joey Ramone's grave. Janie, thank you so much. Yes, I'm excited about that live. I really, really am. That one was really personal for my fiance. It was for me. It was definitely somewhat of a spiritual experience, but I think I'm more anxious and excited to hear Joey's perspective on how he felt about being there at Joey Ramon's grave. Yeah, I'm really happy that we got to do that and that we're about to talk about it. That's my way of celebrating my birthday with everyone. Like, my birthday is the 16th, but I'm excited to be doing this as sort of like my own post celebration with my guy, to be talking about this with you all. And something else that Joey and I have going on, we have our own YouTube channel. It's still in progress. We need followers, so whoever's watching, please go follow us, because we will be talking about stuff similar to what you're going to hear on the 18th. But we're going to be going into things on this channel, not my channel that you're on now, but on this other channel. We're going to utilize our art. We are experimenting a little bit more, getting more into intuitive art, automatic, some people would say some automatic drawing, but it's more intuitive art. It's something that we want to do at different locations, and we want to talk about the locations and places that we go to. It doesn't always have to be like supposedly or allegedly haunted locations. It's just, we will be utilizing that channel to talk about strange places, how we connect with it through our art. And this channel that we've created, it exists right now. So it's Sketchy and Spooky Journeys with Joey and Whitney. It's Sketchy and hang on, let me see. Sketchy and Spooky Journeys YouTube channel. It's on that one. I'll try to type it up in the chat here at the end of this live. Thanks, Janie. Thank you so much for your interest. But we're going to navigate what we will be talking about, like the stuff that you will hear us talk about on the 18th from this live. It's just an example and a piece of what we're going to have on that channel. Tim Lopez, thank you for the live. Going to have to watch the movie. Can't wait for the next live. Thank you so much, Tim. Thanks for watching this. I hope I didn't spoil this movie too much for you, because I know you haven't seen it yet, but I tried to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but it's a little... Oh, huh, that's strange, Janie. Well, I'll try to work on that channel a little bit more, and then I'll post that channel on this channel, on the community posts. That way people can see it. And of course, I'll be sharing it on other social media platforms like my Facebook or mainly my Instagram, because that's where I'm at mostly anyway these days. Yeah, I will work on that other... Thanks, Janie. Sorry you couldn't find it, but I will work on it so you can find it, so it can be public. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. I guess I'm going to wrap up here, and if you don't already and you're watching, definitely subscribe to this channel. It's La Hechicera of Horror. I'll hold it up one more time. I'll try to type these in the chat later. I usually used to hold up a book where I said follow my sites and socials, but here's my link tree. I'll also type in my link tree. My link tree is on the about section of this YouTube channel, but this is www.linktr.ee/witchcraft and gore. So my link tree there will have this stuff that you see. The stuff, if you're interested in seeing my Instagram, I know I had TikTok, but I don't know what to make of that anymore. I think there's supposed to be a ban of some sort, but who knows what's gonna happen with that site. So my focus is basically back here on YouTube, and getting the other YouTube channel going, and so I can get other of you followers there too, just in case you're interested in more folklore, spooky locations, more spooky locations than folklore or ghost stories or art as well. But it's not just my art or my experiences, or it's a shared experience with my guy, Joey. So I guess I'm gonna stop now, and I know I didn't do a whole lot of this blood, but I did want to model it a little bit just to show it, and I did add a little bit of blood. JC, big fan of horror movies. 80s classics are my favorite. Thanks, Whitney. I enjoyed. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate you watching. Everyone that tuned in, thanks so much. Thanks for interacting. And if you're into it, if you're interested, maybe I'll see you on the 18th for the Punk's Not Dead Storytime Ghost and Grave Hunting for Joey Ramone. Our talk, mine and Joey's talk on Joey Ramone. Thanks so much, guys. Have a safe one and a good one. Good night. If I can figure out how to end this. Bye.